Hey there, welcome back. It's so nice to see you again in our calm little space of stories and soft dreams. Here we share relaxing tales to slow your heart and ease your mind. If you love peaceful nights and gentle words, don't forget to subscribe and stay close. There's always another story waiting for you. The Slow Tide. Chapter 8. The Offer. The call came on a Tuesday morning, 3 weeks after Maya had arrived in Thornberry Bay. She was sitting at her table, working on a painting of the tide pools, her 5th canvas, and the first one she didn't immediately hate. The phone rang, pulling her out of the flow state she'd only recently learned to access again. Unknown number. San Francisco area code. Maya's first instinct was to ignore it, but something made her answer. Maybe curiosity. Maybe the newfound confidence that came from 3 weeks of choosing herself. Maybe just the simple fact that she was no longer afraid of her old life reaching out to touch her. Hello, Maya Torres. A woman's voice, professional but warm. This is Jennifer Walsh. I'm a partner at Luminary Design. I hope this isn't a bad time. Luminary Design. One of the most prestigious boutique agencies in the Bay Area. Maya had interviewed there once years ago, before she'd taken the corporate position. She hadn't gotten the job. Too inexperienced, they'd said, though the rejection had been kind. I have a few minutes, Maya said carefully, setting down her brush. I'll get straight to the point. We're opening a new creative director position, leading our emerging brands division. It's high-level strategic work, but with more autonomy than you'd get at a bigger company. Smaller team, more meaningful projects, clients who actually care about good design rather than just market dominance. Jennifer paused. Your name came up in our search. Your portfolio is exceptional, and several people we spoke with described you as one of the most talented creative directors in the city. Maya's chest tightened. 3 weeks ago, this call would have been a dream. Validation. Proof that walking away hadn't diminished her value in the marketplace. A chance to go back to her career on better terms. But now, sitting in her room with paint on her hands and an unfinished canvas in front of her, the ocean breathing beyond her window, now it felt like a hand reaching out from her old life, trying to pull her back under. That's flattering, Maya managed. But I'm not sure I'm in a place to consider new positions right now. I understand. And I want to be clear, we're not asking you to decide today. But I'd love to at least have a conversation. Tell you about the role, the company culture, what we're trying to build. Jennifer's tone shifted, becoming more personal. Full transparency. I burned out at a tech company 5 years ago. Ended up in therapy, questioning everything. When I came to Luminary, I was looking for something different. A way to do meaningful work without sacrificing my humanity. That's what we're trying to create here. It was a good pitch. Exactly the kind of thing that would have resonated with the Maya who'd left San Francisco 3 weeks ago. Desperate and depleted. A chance to have the career without the cost. The prestige without the price. But 3 weeks in Thornberry Bay had taught her something. There was always a price. The question was whether you were willing to pay it. Can I think about it? Maya asked. Of course. Take all the time you need. But if you're open to it, I'd love to set up a call for later this week. Just to talk. No pressure, no commitment. Just a conversation between two professionals who understand what it's like to love the work but hate what it costs. After they hung up, Maya sat staring at her phone. The painting in front of her, tide pools rendered in blues and greens and unexpected gold where light hit water, suddenly felt like evidence of something fragile and new that could easily be crushed by the weight of old ambitions. She needed to walk, to think, to breathe. The beach was nearly empty. Just an elderly couple walking hand in hand near the water, and a teenager throwing a ball for an ecstatic golden retriever. Maya walked in the opposite direction, toward the rocks at the far end. Her hands shoved in her jacket pockets, her mind churning. The offer was good. Really good. Better compensation than her old job. More creative freedom. A company that actually claimed to care about work-life balance. She could move back to the city, find a new apartment, restart her career on healthier terms. She could prove that her breakdown hadn't broken her, that she was still valuable, still relevant, still capable of competing at the highest levels. Yet, the thought of going back made her chest tight in a way that had nothing to do with anxiety and everything to do with grief. Because in 3 weeks, she'd started to build something here. Not a career. Not anything impressive or marketable. Just a life. Small and quiet and hers. She thought about mornings spent painting while the sun rose. About conversations with Sienna that ranged from art theory to absolutely nothing. About Helen's quiet wisdom delivered over homemade soup. About Daniel and the way he understood her becoming without needing to rush it or fix it or make it into something else. She thought about the person she'd been when she arrived. Exhausted, hollowed out, barely holding on. And the person she was becoming. Still uncertain, still scared, but somehow more real. More present. More alive. Could she hold on to that in San Francisco? Could she take this new version of herself back to the city and keep her intact? Or would the current be too strong? Would she slip back into old patterns, old definitions of success? Old ways of measuring her worth by her productivity and achievements? Running away or running toward? Dr. Chen's voice whispered in her memory. Maya didn't know the answer. Wasn't sure there was a clear answer. Maybe life was always both. Running from things that hurt you while running toward things that might heal you. Maybe the two couldn't be separated. She found herself at the tide pools, crouching beside the largest one. A hermit crab emerged from under a rock, testing the water with its antennae. It moved slowly, deliberately, carrying its borrowed shell home on its back. When it found a comfortable spot, it settled in, perfectly content to just exist. Maya envied that simplicity, that lack of ambition. The crab didn't worry about wasting its potential or making the right career moves. Just lived moment by moment, trusting that being alive was enough. Thought I might find you here. Maya looked up to find Sienna approaching. Her paint-splattered jacket bright against the gray rocks. She carried 2 paper cups from the kettle. Ruth said you came through looking stormy. Figured you might need coffee and company. Sienna held out one of the cups. Or just coffee if you need to be alone. I won't be offended. Company's good. Maya took the coffee gratefully. How did you know where I'd be? Where does anyone go when they need to think? Water's basically free therapy. Sienna settled onto a rock beside her. Careful not to spill her drink. Want to talk about it? Maya told her about the call, the offer, the opportunity to go back to her career on supposedly better terms. As she spoke, she watched the hermit crab relocating to a new spot, testing different locations, never quite settling. "That's amazing," Sienna said when she finished. "Right. That's what I'm supposed to say. That it's an incredible opportunity and you'd be crazy not to consider it. Is that what you think?" "I think," Sienna sipped her coffee, choosing her words carefully, "that only you know what's right for you. But I also think you should ask yourself, why did you leave in the first place? And has anything about that fundamental reason changed? They say the culture is different, that they prioritize well-being and meaning over just grinding people down. They all say that." Sienna's voice was gentle but firm. "Every company claims they're different, that they care about work-life balance, that they value creativity over commerce. But at the end of the day, they're still a business. They still need deliverables and billable hours and growth quarter over quarter. You can't serve two masters, Maya. Eventually, one will win. And in my experience, it's never the one you want it to be." Maya thought about her old company, which had also claimed to value employee wellness. They'd had a meditation room and unlimited PTO and free therapy sessions. But none of that had prevented the unspoken expectation that you'd work evenings and weekends, that you'd sacrifice your personal life for client needs, that your worth was measured in results rather than humanity. "What if I'm just running away?" Maya asked quietly. "What if staying here is just hiding? What if I'm wasting my potential by painting badly in a dying town instead of using my actual skills to do meaningful work?" Sienna turned to face her fully. "Do you feel like you're wasting your potential?" "I don't know. Sometimes I wake up and think I should be doing something more important. That painting for myself while the world continues without me is indulgent, selfish. And other times I think I'm finally learning what it means to be a person instead of a productivity machine. That the most important work I can do right now is healing. That saving myself is more important than saving clients' brands or building someone else's company. Which feeling is louder?" Maya watched the tide pool, the small ecosystem going about its business. The anemones didn't question whether they should be doing something more impressive with their lives. They just opened and closed filtered water, existed in their small corner of the world, and that was enough. "The second one," she admitted. "But the first one feels more responsible, more adult, more like what I'm supposed to want." "Supposed to according to who?" Jenna asked. "Your old boss. Your mother. Some internalized capitalism voice that says your worth equals your output." She set down her coffee. "Maya, I left a good job in Portland. A nice apartment, a decent salary, a career trajectory that made sense on paper. Everyone thought I was crazy. My boyfriend at the time literally told me I was throwing my life away over some quarter-life crisis. What did you tell him?" "I told him he was probably right. That I was probably making a huge mistake. That I might regret it forever." Sienna smiled. "But I also told him that I'd rather regret trying to build a life I actually wanted than regret staying in a life that was slowly killing me. 3 years later, I'm broke and happy instead of comfortable and miserable. I'd make the same choice every time." They sat in silence, watching the water. A gull landed on a nearby rock, eyeing them hopefully for food. When none appeared, it took off again, unbothered, moving on to better prospects. "What are you afraid of?" Jenna asked. "If you're totally honest." Maya took a long time to answer. I'm afraid that if I don't go back, I'll disappear. That without a title and a salary and a LinkedIn profile that impresses people, I'll just cease to exist in any meaningful way. That I'll become one of those people who had potential but wasted it. That I'll look back at 50 and realize I gave up everything I worked for because I was too weak to handle the pressure. And if you do go back, I'm afraid I'll lose this version of myself that actually feels real. That I'll slip back into performing and producing and measuring my worth by metrics that don't actually matter. That in 5 years, I'll have another breakdown. Except this time I won't have the energy to walk away. Maya's voice cracked. I'm afraid I only get one chance to save myself. And if I go back now, I'm choosing to drown. Sienna reached over and squeezed her hand. Then you already know your answer. Do I? Yeah. You're just scared to trust it. Sienna stood, brushing sand from her jeans. Look, I need to get back to the shop. But think about this. What would you tell your best friend if she came to you with this choice? What advice would you give her? After Sienna left, Maya stayed by the tide pools, nursing her cooling coffee and thinking about the question. If Priya called her right now with this exact dilemma, what would Maya say? She'd tell her to choose herself, to trust that the right opportunities would come when she was ready, to remember that healing couldn't be rushed or compromised or fitted into someone else's timeline. She'd tell her that 3 weeks wasn't enough time to undo years of damage, that she deserved space to become whoever she was becoming without pressure or judgment or deadline. She'd tell her to stay. The knowing settled over Maya like a soft blanket. Not dramatic, not accompanied by lightning or trumpets or a sudden sense of absolute certainty. Just quiet recognition that she already knew what she needed to do. She'd known from the moment Jennifer Walsh said, "Creative director position." She needed to stay. Not forever, maybe, but for now. For however long it took to finish becoming whoever she was becoming. The relief was immediate and overwhelming. Maya felt tears slip down her cheeks. Happy tears, scared tears, grateful tears all mixed together. She was choosing herself, choosing healing over achievement, choosing small and meaningful over large and hollow. She was choosing to stay. Back at the inn, Maya found Helen in the sitting room, working on her knitting. The older woman looked up as Maya entered, and whatever she saw in Maya's face made her set down her needles. "You got a job offer," Helen said. "Not a question. How did you? You're not the first person to get a call from their old life while staying here. You all have the same look. Torn in half." Helen patted the chair beside her. "Sit. Tell me." So Maya did. She explained about luminary design, about Jennifer Walsh's pitch, about the opportunity to go back on supposedly better terms. And then she explained about the tide pools and Sienna's question, and the quiet knowing that had settled over her like grace. "I'm going to turn it down," Maya said. "I need to stay here. At least for a while longer. I know it's not practical or ambitious or what I'm supposed to want. But it's what you actually want," Helen finished gently. "And that matters more than what you're supposed to want. Is it crazy? Turning down a good offer to stay in a dying town and paint badly and figure out my life? Crazy is doing the same thing over and over while expecting different results. You're choosing different. That's not crazy. That's wisdom." Helen picked up her knitting again. the needles clicking rhythmically. Though I should warn you, choosing yourself gets easier with practice, but it never stops being scary. Every time you prioritize your own needs over other people's expectations, you'll feel guilty, selfish, irresponsible. That's just how it is. How do you deal with it? I remember that I only get one life, and I'd rather spend it disappointing people who don't understand me than betraying the person I'm trying to become. Helen smiled. Besides, the people who really love you, they'll understand. They'll support you even when they don't fully get it. The rest, their opinions don't matter as much as you think they do. Maya thought about Priya's messages, her steady support without judgment, about Sienna's immediate understanding, about Daniel's patient witnessing of her becoming. These people saw her, really saw her, and liked what they saw. Believed in her capacity to choose wisely for herself. That mattered more than the approval of everyone else combined. I should call them, Maya said. Tell them no before I lose my nerve. Want company? Or do you need to do it alone? Company would be nice. Helen set down her knitting and moved to sit beside Maya on the couch. She didn't hover or offer advice or try to talk her through it. She just sat, solid and present, a reminder that Maya wasn't alone in this choice. Maya dialed the number Jennifer had called from. It rang 3 times before the other woman answered. Maya, I'm so glad you're calling back. Have you had a chance to think about our conversation? I have. And I'm grateful for the opportunity, really. It sounds like an amazing position. Maya took a deep breath. But I'm not ready to come back yet. I'm in the middle of some personal growth work, and I need to see it through before I can think about returning to that world. There was a pause. Then, I understand. That takes courage. To know what you need and honor it. Can I ask, is this a definite no or a not right now? I don't know, Maya admitted. I'm learning not to plan too far ahead. But for now it's no. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Life is long. Opportunities come around again. And if you ever change your mind, or if you're ready to talk about contract work or consulting, you have my number. Jennifer's voice was warm. Take care of yourself, Maya. That's more important than any job. After they hung up, Maya sat staring at her phone, waiting for the regret or panic to hit. But all she felt was peace. Bone-deep, quiet peace. How do you feel? Helen asked. Terrified. Relieved. Free. Maya laughed, wiping her eyes. All of it at once. Is that normal? That's exactly right. That's what choosing yourself feels like. Messy and complicated and totally worth it. Helen squeezed her shoulder. Proud of you, kiddo. That wasn't easy. Now what? Now you keep going. Keep painting. Keep healing. Keep becoming. The next step will reveal itself when you're ready for it. Maya looked out the window at the ocean, at the endless rolling waves, at the horizon line where water met sky. Somewhere out there, her old life continued without her. Clients found new creative directors. Projects moved forward. The world kept spinning. And here, in this small room in a dying coastal town, Maya Torres, not senior creative director, just Maya, sat with paint under her fingernails and a lighter heart than she'd had in years, learning that sometimes the bravest thing you could do was choose to stay still when everything in you wanted to run. Tomorrow she'd paint. She'd walk on the beach. She'd have coffee with Sienna and dinner with Helen, and maybe she'd see Daniel at the sanctuary. She'd live small, ordinary, unremarkable days that wouldn't impress anyone but meant everything to her. And that would be enough. More than enough. It would be everything.